Hello. Today's article is titled, How Do You Feel? And I went with this article and that particular title because of a experience I had with one of my bosses who I consider to be probably the best boss I ever had. And the reason for that is he took the time one day to actually ask that question, but he did it from a personal, very Christian-oriented perspective because he truly cared about how I felt. He knew that I was going through numerous changes, as you saw listed in the article, and all of those things, in some, can create a great deal of stress for an individual, and ultimately it could affect your health. So the fact that he asked, that he cared enough to know how I felt, was his way of saying, not only how do you feel, but what can I do for you, which was something he was very interested in. So from a Christian perspective, I find this very uplifting because it's very difficult to find a supervisor, manager, boss in the secular world who care. But in the Christian circles, working in a Christian organization, you will find this to be something that is prevalent. And so if you're fortunate, like I was, to have such a boss who really cared and a staff that was super supportive, then you consider yourself fortunate, as I did, because finding a team like this is a challenge. And so if you have that, consider yourself fortunate. But more to the point is, he was interested to know how I managed to keep the smile on my face that I had, that I had the positive spirit all the time. How did I do that? And so what I told him was, in essence, something that I have read over and over again in Paul's writings. Reading from the scripture here in 1 Corinthians 15:58 in the NIV, he wrote that, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. And I believe that if you view your work as the gift from God that it is, that you're serving Him, then serving others becomes much less stressful, and the tasks that you do become much less stressful. You're going to go out of your way to serve the Lord, and that's something that others will see. Now, others may think you're going out of your way to serve them, but and that's fine, and maybe you do. But if always your focus is on the Lord and serving Him, then all the rest doesn't matter, and the stress of the work environment dissipates, and the stress of the tasks dissipate, and it becomes a joy to do the work that you do. And so when someone asks you, how do you feel? Then the answer should always be a positive one. And so I encourage you to consider reading Paul's writings if you haven't already, and if you have, go back into them and study them and look at how the Word supports you and how uplifting it can be to put a different spin on how you view your job, a different spin as serving the Lord instead of serving others. And I think that will change your perspective and bring some joy to your work. I thank you for reading and listening, and I appreciate any feedback you may have, as I always enjoy those things. And again, have a great day.